Hi. So my topic is Medallion means agents building the next gen AI data architecture. But before rolling on to the slides, I just want to give a conceptual idea what actually a Medallion is. So and why I chose this topic. So this particular Medallion architecture refers to, of course, it's a design framework. It's a design framework to and it's connected to data engineering field itself, like refining the data, as clean as possible and as sanitized as possible. Because today we receive lot of raw data from Excel's, CRM applications, SAP, ERP, or Kafka, or anything you name it. So it's getting very difficult to. First thing is the rawness of the data, from where it is gathered. Other is the trust issues with the data, which is because ultimately what's happening today is the AI, the buzzword for last couple of years. So AI will give you the data for sure based on the raw data, but the truthness, the accurateness is not there. It is just stitching up data from here and there, and whatever it's available, you are feeding or training the data, it's giving the output to that. What about the accuracy? What about the truthfulness? That's sometimes it's the trust issues are there. Like so it's very necessary, because as a data engineer or AI ML engineer, you need to understand that this is like of course, like the tools which you use today, chat GPT models which you use today, it's good, but often the practice which we have seen now is we just feed the data like this, can you please help me reframe this, or in the mails also we just took the help from ChatGPT, and whatever we feed it can generate the context. But when it comes to research oriented things like refining the data, it's not giving the accurate results basically. I'm not into data engineering platform right now, working as a cloud architect mostly on the networking and the infrastructure side, but whenever I have worked in this in the past experiences, I think honestly cleaning of data takes a lot of time, whether you use data factory or data bricks or any technology you use today. I have worked basically in the Azure data engineering platform. I have designed the infrastructure, so I know few of the technologies like these, and I have worked on ADF as well. So I think a lot of time is being spent to clean the data, and so basically today the challenge is the trust issues with the data, and the other is of course the security issues which I'm dealing in my current profile, but not related to this topic. But of course, so to address trust issues with the data and its relying, its meaning, solving the purpose, making any sense, whatever it's driving, whatever it's delivering the results, I think that is where introducing this concept into the architecture becomes very essential. And this topic is not new. This has been there. If you know this Microsoft Fabric, so Microsoft Fabric, the backend data, it's a design based on Medallion architecture. So the Fabric, it basically when I started working in the Azure, like ADF pipelines and database which is acquired by Red Hat now. So it was not there basically. This framework Fabric was not at all there. The service was not there. I was using ADF, Databricks, and Synapse Analytics, different. But now the good thing is Fabric has structurized these things. So structurization thing backend, which I was exploring, Medallion is behind that. So it's the framework on top of which the Microsoft Fabric is built. It's Medallion. So that is where the so Medallion essentially, that's why I'm referring. It's a design framework. It helps you to refine the multi-layer. It's also called multi-layer architecture. Multi-layer because essentially it's refine the data starting from the raw to we will see the multiple layers. That's why it's a multi-layer architecture, and a hop layer, it's data moves from one hop to another and another to another. So that's why so Fabric is Microsoft Fabric. As you can understand, lots of services are covered in the ecosystem of Fabric now. Like starting from the feeding the data like raw Excel sheets, or the ERP, SAP systems, or Kafka. Then processing data through data factory pipelines and data bricks, and then doing this processing ETL pipelines. And then the refine framework is there fast to your Power BI or those things using like the different self-hosted agents or whatever it is. So So that's why the concept Medallion architecture. It's a design framework used to design for and clean the data, the raw data. So that's the simple definition I can put. Of course, you can go through the. We will walk through as we walk through. You can know more about it, and how it's helping to it acting as a truthful source for the tools like AutoGen, LLM models. It's acting as a source of truth. How it is acting as a source of truth, we will see in as we begin. So that's the idea. So yeah, basically this would be the high level agenda which I just want to project. Like why the problem statement, why traditional architecture fail AI. This is exactly what I was describing in a very brief now. Why the traditional architectures are failing to address the problem. Because AI is a buzzword and we are seeing this, but the truthfulness is where the trust issues are there with the data which has been projected to us. Second is like we will go through the Medallion architecture, the core concept of it. And third is why Medallion architecture enables authentic AI. This is what I was referring to. We do have trust issues with the data which has been getting generated from AI. I think the best example of the 3 point is I just want, because this has been in public in the news as well. Deloitte has prepared a report. I think they were penalized. I think by I don't know the refereeing company, but what they did is they prepared a report. They copied the data. I think some of you know. They copied the data, feed the data into the chat GPT, and it generated the output. It was very good. They did a case study, but I think it was penalized by court that this is lot of information was wrong, and a huge ransom amount was Deloitte has paid that for that. So that is what I'm referring to. The trust issues are there. You need to be very careful when you are designing this kind of doing this kind of stuff. So to address this third right, I think every company today, like whatever company you are from, might have by now you might have some your version of ChatGPT inside the organization. Like in ABB, they have developed recently ABBY. The models are pretty much same, which you see LLM models, but they have their own version, so that this legal things doesn't comes up. You don't search those keywords, company keywords in the open source like OpenAI, like ChatGPT. So I think every company now must have by now. If not, then I think it's a high time considering the scenarios which we are seeing now, because it can lead to legal issues also. So that's where we will be seeing this. This is why I call this authentic AI. So fourth is how Microsoft OneLake and Fabric is leveraging this Medallion model. That's the one thing, but there are more use cases to it, and we can see like real case use examples and how organization can start. That's a pretty much of it. So it's just like if I have to very layman definition, like you extract gold right from the mines. So the gold is when the raw format is very black. So when you keep on crushing it and refining it, then eventually it cleans up and it turns to gold. So that's what Medallion is doing, like in technical terms. So this is the I think best example which I can frame out. So then how organization can start using this Medallion if not they have not started the data in their data cleaning process. So the problem, why traditional architectures are failing. There are some theoretical slides as well, but I just want to cover some of these concepts so that I can give you the pictorial representation of how the cleansing looks like and how it works actually. Data fragmentation is one of the problems which is solving. We don't have, as I said, there is no single source of truth today. So this problem is being addressed by this Medallion architecture. So we are receiving files from as low as Excel sheets, PDFs, and as high as Parquet format or like ERP or Kafka or anything it is. So this is data fragmentation. There is no single source of truth. So this is one problem, and all AI models receive inconsistent inputs. Hallucinations. The word hallucinations means it appears like it's there, but actually it's not there. So whatever that happened in Deloitte case, it gave the first impression it gave, it's a very authentic data, and that's why that company pulled it out. But actually, the figures are not matching to that. The legal complications to that. So that is the word called hallucinations. It appears that it's there, but it appears, but it's actually not there. So that it's not based on the facts and truth, whatever you have collected. So it will remove this problem of hallucinations. Second is the ETL sprawl and multiple copies of data. Like each name build its own pipeline, different versions of truth, because different people are working on different set of raw data. I think that's where different copies they are maintaining. Like it's kind of centralized. It's not distributed. It's a kind of centralized. So each one is having their own copy, but they are all working in silos. So that's the another problem which we are. But I think this ETL sprawl can be at least remediated without using this architecture. But at least we call it a problem. Data fragmentation division, of course, is a problem which this model can address. But ETL sprawl is something which it's a mindset, I think, which we as a collectively we need to look into. Power data quality and lack of standardization. So AI model trained on this produce biased, noisy and untrustworthy predictions, which we already saw with the example which I took. I think it's very clear now. And slow, the last is slow batch driven process. So traditional warehousing refresh hourly daily, but AI agents like LLM models, and we will also see this AutoGen. It's a Microsoft AI tool. Basically, it needs these kind of AI models needs very fresh data or real-time signals, so that they can give you as accurate information as possible. And accuracy is achieved by layering multiple filtering of the data. So that's why AI agents today, whatever it's maybe AutoGen or anything, they is fresh and real-time signals, not yesterday's data like refresh daily, hourly. So this is why it's going to address. This is the problem statement which we are going to solve. This is what the pictorial thing is like. As we see the files coming from the raw data coming from the ERP, CRM, third-party data, and it's kind of cycle. Whenever it gets feeds, exporting data, importing, managing. It's a very manual process, deduplication, and if any error, we have to again repeat this cycle. If again it's a issue found with the raw manual file, again we have to reprocess this. This is the traditional data silos which I was referring to. Again, this cycle has to be repeated for every mistake we made in the particular cleansing or everything. So as I said, every time you want to make a change or add new data, you have to start all the process all over again. Like verifying, exporting, importing, and then this rebuilding, merging, and then the normalization of data and deduplication. That's it. We'll see how this is being addressed with the Medallion. And this then it's go to the final version, which is the static reporting, which again go to Power BI or lookup in Google. So different tools for different clouds. So yes, now comes the core concept basically. So basically. Any questions till now, like before I go to the core concepts, how it is done? If not, then I will just start with the core concept, because this is very important, so that how it achieves it. Okay, so as I said that this Medallion architecture is split into three phases. One is we'll see browns first, and then I will explain link all the three. So simple flare structure of trusted and AI ready. We call it trusted from line 1 itself. Why? Because we will see why we have called this trusted. See, in today's world, there also, I am not saying that Medallion is perfect. There are cons of Medallion as well, like multiple layers of refinement. There could be some accuracy rate you have to see. The accuracy rate which we are seeing right now is not even close to I say 95 or 100%. There could be scenarios like it could be not accurate. Like at least if it can be matched to a particular level, we can trust this. So that's what it is. It's not like we have to cons are there for this architecture as well, but it will give you, at least you can trust this data, that this data is refinement is there and it's coming from a reliable source. That's why we call this trusted AI, because multiple levels of filtering is happening. So once is the browse layer, raw and immutable. Any file in just as is, like it will Excel file or PDFs or text file, notepad or anything, CAD related files. I'm working in manufacturing, so I would use CAD related because mine is I work for a venture product. So manufacturing is a business line for me. And so the data Parquet format as it is being feed. Whether the data can be from ERPs, customer relationship and CRM systems, IoT. This is the field which I am working. IoT and IIoT I am working currently. So, so IoT APIs. So ingesting the data from this as it is raw, and then in this phase there is no transformation at all. Like there is no. It's kind of this is kind of extraction phase. If you see in traditional ETL terms, this extraction phase raw as it is. No transformation, full fidelity, complete lineage, and it acts as a single landing zone for all the enterprise data, single landing zone. So this particularly is the extraction zone, bronze layer, raw and immutable. Now we have the other layers. The second is of course the silver layer. Silver layer will now this point where it start cleaning the data basically. You will refer to as the Azure Data Factory. When it extracts the data from the using the self-hosted on-premise machine, it feeds the data, because when you extract data, basically in today's world, nothing, these kind of raw data are not available in the cloud. You have to get extract from multiple sources you don't even know. It can be set in on-premise as well. That's why we use self-hosted agents integrated with this ADF, Azure Data Factory. ADF is, I'm giving a reference because you can so that you can correlate. So ADF is the link to silver layer. So cleaning it happens, processing of the data is happened, deduplication, it removes the duplicate dated data, then validation of data is happening, and schema harmonization. Then we have analytic friendly data sets, and it creates consistency, customer products, transaction, etc. During this phase, like before, so now the LLM models which I was referring to, LLM or any AI related, like even the ChatGPT or any of those things. So I think if we build our own model, right, this is very good layer to get the data from. This is at least cleaned, if not gold layer, but at least it's clean data. The AutoGen platforms like AutoGen, which are platform designed for LLM models. So it can help. It can start extracting the data using silver layer. It cannot extract from bronze. It's not trusted. So at least this layer is a starting point. From this it can extract. Gold layer, of course, is the de facto for all the RAG related computing. But from this layer it can, then those models or AutoGen can do their own kind of business ready thing can be done. But at least this can be trusted. It has, I think, the deduplication or the clean data. Already it's clean. Multiple iterations. Finally, is the gold layer. That's, as I was saying, it's a multi-layered kind of or multi-hop architecture, Medallion. So it's hop by hop, like bronze to silver, silver to gold, and after that it goes to the business layers. So it's very, now in the gold layer, it's kind of very business ready, which actually leads to see. So the business wants to see and make decisions based on it, and it's a AI ready gold layer. Although in my platform there is no, I think not implemented this thing, but we are trying to achieve till silver layer. We are trying to use. I'm using basically AWS, so I am actually concerned more about the AWS platform, whatever services we can use, but we are trying to achieve to at least the silver layer. It's in progress. So there is no data engineer. I am only initiated these discussions, but I think it will be achievable. So if not to gold layer, because in manufacturing, the use case like which I am working, we have data scattered So I'm dealing with basically the manufacturing lines. So basically the manufacturing plants different. So data from different ERP systems. So integration also is integrated. Lots of integrations, SAP integrations are sitting on the Azure. Those SAP are deployed in Azure, so that firewalls and all, I'm managing it that one. But for that, there's a lot of data coming in. So we are not able to make any value out of it. So we want to make basically in my use case, we want to make a chatbot or something. If customer is waiting for updates or something, he can just query. We want to use RAG actually. The ultimate goal is to reach to this level so that our database can give help extract this level of information. So we are working on it. I think just discussions. I think this is the best example which you can use, because today data is there in any company, but it's very raw, unstructured and kept everywhere. So you need to centralize this with the help of this kind of architecture. Now gold layer, curated dimension, aggregated KPIs and future-ready tables for your ML, RAG, co-pilots and forecasting models. So this is very important. Like if you extract from this, of course, that's why this kind of co-pilots and forecasting models are useful in getting the data from gold layer. But of course, if you have to develop your own version of co-pilots, which is very essential in today's world, I think you need to go through all the three layers. Not only you cannot trust directly co-pilots and all. For your daily works, of course, it's been very helpful. But the other thing which I want to highlight is like some of you maybe are developers here, so very fun fact. So this is happening in my organization also. They're putting the code inside the chat GPT and help me prepare this logic. Like where is the correction, just give me the accurate code. It's giving that. But the problem comes when it comes to troubleshooting. Because coming from a service operation background, it's very painful job when you land production issues, you don't know where to start troubleshooting. A handwritten code, just a layman is good, still works actually, rather than working, asking ChatGPT or someone to get that code for you. So that's where I think that's why instead of directly coming to this, start from the beginning, so you learn how you have arrived to this stage. You can explain when this kind of issue, service operations issue happens. And trusted is very trusted. Governed data sets consumed by BI dashboard and AI agents. I have how much time I have for my talk? Like 15 minutes or 10 minutes? How is it? Yeah, time check. 11:45. Okay, 11:45. Okay. So okay. I just want to make sure that all things are covered. So this is basically the first architecture of how this model looks like. Streaming batch, raw data goes to the bronze. It's a raw integration landing zone. The first landing zone for any files or data where it lands, raw integration. For raw data, no schema needed here. Like because raw data is coming from Excel sheets, ERP, SAP or whatever different CRM. So then it goes to the filtered and more clean, augmented kind of field, which is where it's defining the structure, enforce schema, evolve schema as it's needed. Then it is going to board, which is for the business level aggregates, like deliver consistent, continuously updated, clean data to downstream user and apps. This is where it's going to Power BI, ML, AML and all those cases. Usually it starts extracting from there. But as I said, still silver layer also is fine, but from gold layer also you can help extract to give insights to business. Like this is, they can trust at least data coming from the gold. So I think these are some of the reasons. I won't go each one by one, but just an overview of all these vendors. So why model architecture enable authentic AI? Why? Because this word is important in today's world. Like why I want to use trusted or authentic, because it's not trusted with the examples which we have already seen. So clean, consistent data, it gives you reliable AI outputs. Silver and gold are ensuring this. And AI learns from truth basically. It's also a model, it's keep on evolving. It's not, so it's keep on evolving based on the facts, truth, no noise. So this help to reduce the hallucinations, the words which I explained you, like it seems to be there but it's not there. So it reduces those kind of hallucination noises. End-to-end lineage, explainable AI. Models can justify answers with verified data provenance. And third is the future-ready gold layer. Faster, accurate model training. It gives better features for better accuracy and faster deployment in the gold layer. The RAG pipelines and all those concepts, LLMs, are usually driving the data from gold layer. So that's why it's important to refine this layer as you know, as much as you can refine in the silver layer. So so that you can get some accurate data in the downstream. The upstream for gold layer. Unified governance, responsible AI by design. Policies, access control, PIA handling of the data, and auditability are built in. So, you might have used Azure Purview, that is used in the governance, that takes care of all the environment, what it is doing, how it's extracting the data. So, governance also is taken care by this model, which is handling customer PIA data, auditability, because this is very important. You don't leak any personal information of the customer. So that's why this model takes care of that access control policies. Here, custom policies can also be built. For all of your organization, whatever the AI model or ChatGPT version the companies have started developing now, they must be using company policies integrated. So those frameworks have already been integrated. So the policy is customizable, and it's not because it's built on open source, but still it is trusted. So this is customizable. You can customize the policy according to your organization, and PIA handling is effective is happening. Auditability are already built in for this one. The other is just want to the next is how OneLake or the Fabric, Microsoft Fabric is using in the backend system. They are using Medallion architecture only. So OneLake, so basically OneLake is to Microsoft, it's kind of OneDrive for data on top of Medallion principles. So OneLake is that's a new terminology. We have data lake, right? Data lake. So it's OneLake is a familiar new concept. I won't say a new concept, but yeah, it's already there. They call it as OneDrive for data, Microsoft. Single logical layer, no data duplication. Delta Parquet files are very light. If some of you not from data engineering platform, Parquet files are also this is a format actually, like CSV and all those XLX format. Parquet is not hidden in a readable format. You have to convert it to a readable format. It's a very lightweight file. It converts your heavy file into a lightweight file so that you can feed into your ETL pipelines. So Parquet files are there. Those database, those ETL pipelines architecture. So Parquet native storage is there, ideal for bronze, silver, gold layers. Direct layer model, Power BI consuming gold data sets with no import latency. And universal security governance is applied consistently across the layers. So this is one of the use case, which the enterprise use case I would say. Use cases are many for this, but to just give an example, you guys an example, it's just an enterprise use case on which Fabric is based. Microsoft Fabric is based on this particular model or architecture Medallion. So this is just one example of that. And yes, I think to just classify, to just correlate what I was saying in the architecture last time. So bronze is where this layer by this Fabric Microsoft Fabric component. So Microsoft Fabric now they have classified these Azure services into different layers. So this is the example of that table. Like bronze layer in Fabric, Microsoft Fabric, data factory and event streams are there. Event streams like streaming events. So and the value which is based in can be drawn from bronze layer is high volume ingestion. So data factory essentially helps to process the data coming from different sources using self-hosted agents, on-premise versions, Excel sheets or whatever it is. So data factory event streams come under the bronze. And silver, the fabric component comes as data engineering notebooks, pipelines, data engineering, notebooks or pipelines. It helps to, the value is delivering, its delivering is cleaning and standardization of data, deduplication, removing the duplicates and all that terms we saw in last slides. Gold is where the data warehouse semantic models comes, semantic and those kind of models comes. And this layer basically is your AI ready business data, like gold standard. So it's refined to arrive at this stage itself. It has cleaned so much data and then it went to warehouse, and semantic warehouse for storing the data, as you already know by the term, and it's ready for the use case for the by LLM, RAG, Power BI or any lookup for Google. So this kind of things. So this is where the architecture is a little broken, but I've taken references also is mentioned in the slide. It's not feeble, but it's feeble right now on the left side of it, but the reference links is there. I think, I'm not sure if this slide will be shared with you, but I think it's already available. I have given the reference in the last as well. So just to explain, data source is like, this can be anything, and bronze layer, data factory, data lake, which I was in the last slide, the raw data collector, agent. The second layer is the silver layer, which talks about the data bricks and data lake is there. And then, as I said, so basically the gold layer is apps, analytics, machine learning, and Power BI. So as I said, this AutoGen, right? AutoGen is basically an agent, multi-agent tool. That is based on a multi-agent framework basically. I wanted to show a little demo of it because I found it interesting while I was doing 2 days back. I started using this auto images, exploring that side. So, but I think it's a simple drag and drop utility. Like you can, yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, so why your AutoGen is in the silver layer, not in the gold layer?
Yeah, come to that. So. Okay, so I did refer to this in my last slide. So what's happening is AI AutoGen, why this question came to me as well when I was referring to this reference, why this extracting from silver and not gold. Basically, by at least this time the data is clean at least. So that's why the LLM models or models like the frameworks like AutoGen, it can still extract from silver layer because cleaning has happened now. Processing could be different with this. You can now do processing using any your built-in LLM tool, the proprietary tool like AutoGen is Microsoft, but you can use any other cloud tool. Like for Google also there are tools available, and for AWS as well. So now from this layer it can help extend. This extraction can happen from silver layer also, but definitely not bronze. But it can start from silver. This very question came to me as well when I was reading about this. How can this be happened? But I think it makes sense. What the reason which I saw it is that by this time the data is clean at least. You can trust it thing is introduced during the transformation phase, which is this. So you can still trust. So that's why it can happen like basically. And
also it is maintaining the historical data.
Yes, historical, yeah. The silver layer, yeah.
Also related to the governance, could you highlight any tool you are using? Like there is one Unity catalog. Is there anything else you are using?
Purview.
Governance, data governance.
Data governance. Microsoft Purview, have you heard?
No, that's what I was saying. I know the Unity
Okay, so Purview you can use for governance in the data pipelines as a Purview. So Purview is for it tells you where the data is stored and what kind of access control policies you need to implement. And it helps us because what I have used Purview when it was not even live. It was some other service called back in Sapient days, 2019, I think 19 or 20, when it was just developing this Purview. It was a one version down. So what's happening is it's classifying the data. Purview will help you governing like access control policies, what can you implement, labeling the data, confidential, strictly confidential, and like internal. It can help you label the data also. This governance can happen using Purview. So this can be integrated. The governance can happen through tools like Azure or Microsoft Purview. It's there. It's the part of this particular governance is part of Fabric itself. Microsoft Fabric architecture is different. That I am not showing here, but it pretty much covers all these services, including governance. Governance is a platform layer. Platform, then governance, then these kind of services are there. So it's part of Purview platform, which ecosystem which Microsoft has created. Governance is already built in, but you can configure. Yeah.
So the bronze also in the Purview.
No. Bounce, it's not the Purview. So basically, here, if you see the governance is in the platform, this is like service in the top of it. But Purview won't take care of the bronze. It's still ETL, it's still extracting data. Governance will come into the picture. This is, as I said, as is. Data is taken as is without any policies, nothing. It can take data because data can come from any authorized system in enterprise companies. Data can come from SAP, CRM applications or anything. But that is trusted with the company, like they have legal partnership with them. But governance, we can't apply the governance on SAP, which is part of different zone. You have to take the data as is. If one file is missing in your manufacturing use case, it will impact the client, right? So you can't apply policies on top of that. Once it's there in your system, then you can apply the policies. This is what my understanding says. Because if you block here, right, it will be difficult for business. Because if for example, in manufacturing use case, one part number is dependent on another part number, right? If you apply, if there is a corruption in the file, second file, it's linked to first file, something security, if its flaw is there, then it will be blocked. It is not even coming to this. How will you refine the data? So governance, to my practical understanding, it doesn't make sense to apply in the bronze layer. So it has to be in the other two layers, because this is where now, because here data has to be trusted. So now it makes sense to apply company policies, governance model on the silver layer. Like a practical understanding, but Bookish language can be different. I am not sure about this answer which I gave, but practically what I have learned so far, it doesn't make sense to apply that in bronze layer, because I use the word as it is. So that's why. So yeah, so that's why governance applies on. It makes sense to apply on these two layers rather than bronze also. I think pretty much I covered in the left hand side. Like I don't want to repeat. Raw data, bronze layer, and then cleaning transformation happens in silver layer, and then we have gold layer, which is Synapse, ML, and Power BI. When I was referring to this architecture, this part was not shown. So like AutoGen. So this was not explained. I researched this, like I searched this, and then I found that you can start extracting the data in the silver layer itself. So there is no flaw, it's clean. Now this is the typical flow. I could not do justice in this flowchart in one slide, so it's coming like this. So this is the starting point. This left side is the starting point. Upstream, just to classify upstream, these are the files: API, log, CRM, bronze, in just as is. This is what I was referring to, as is, immutable. No cleaning here or filtering. Foot fidelity, complete history is maintained in this raw data. Like it's extracting all the data, so it's obviously maintaining all the preserving the history. And then after you have extracted this, it's go to the clean data layer, silver, reduplication, schema harmonization, error handling, quality checks happening. Then it goes to the gold layer, curated, business ready, aggregated, AI ready, whatever it is, and then it's go to the it can be consumed by business consumption and genetic layer, but this can be done, as we saw, AutoGen, which someone asked, it can be done from this layer also. So, but this is the typical the flow, or the genetic layer, AutoGen and LLM agents can use this gold layer, gold standard layer in the Power BI dashboards for business. Multi-agent orchestration. So AutoGen is a multi-agent orchestration framework which I was showing. So, and then action automation, forecasting, predictions, workflow alerts, decision automation. So This is a typical architecture. This actually it's this kind of thing, but it was not coming, so I just pasted. So this is a typical workflow of how it looks like. So I think real world use cases I've already shared, but retail supply chain, some of the retail is like point of sale, bronze capture raw point of sales which are happening, silver standardize the sessions and variants, gold creates customer feedbacks and product embedding. So this kind of retail supply chain forecasting and memory like bronze, telemetry ERP, and gold is like this is supply chain or manufacturing use case also it's same as per my experience. And telemetry ERP, so any data used in production lines basically extracting the raw data from the parts which are used in the manufacturing or the machines. So each part in the assembly lines is being updated and go to SAP. In our application also we have integrated to SAP. So we have to update the part number of all those getting updated in the inventory is getting updated in the SAP. So that's where the bronze layer. Gold is a clean featured store for ML forecasting. So different use case scenarios for this. And then I think how automation can start is like start with one domain, not the whole company. Pick some small use case instead of with I think small piece only you can start to work on this. Establish the bronze, silver, gold standards. You need to identify your custom versions also. Like one of the candidates said that governance can also be explained, can also be applied bronze layer also, but it doesn't make to me it doesn't make practically. I think silver, if you apply that governance model, it makes sense because I'm already dealing with one of the use case. We tried to apply this security rules on raw data, just for the security scanning solution, basically Oxford Meta Defender. So what's happening is they said that they came to us. They said that we want to your manufacturing CAD files. So how are you ensuring that CAD files are not virus and how you're scanning those files? They come up with solution that you need to scan these files before it's going to the system. Somehow you need to scan these files, otherwise we won't allow these files as kind of security infosec rules. So I talked to the application teams and then they also said the same thing. If you scan the files at transit, it will slow down the system. So it makes sense once the files are stored somewhere, EFS or something, if you scan their data at rest, if you scan, it makes sense. So that is where I think the security also comes in, and we can establish your own standards, how you want to ingest security also, and you can develop, customize this. So that's why it's you can have your own versions of these standards. So this is one example I was showing for the security standard. Security, infosec security wants to apply the transit. I disagreed. You have to present a customized version. Because you have to talk to, when you are working production and enterprise system, you need to check the customers, and the latency factor also comes in. So that's why you need to have established your own standard, consulting customers, business, all those. So you can, this feature is there to have your own established. That's why I've written the word established. So unify storage on lakehouse and one lake model, build a cross-functional data pod, create a first UI AI case using gold tables and automate pipeline, and scale it horizontally. Horizontally means you want to develop 2-3 pipelines more on top of it. So to refine multi-layer. So yeah, please go ahead.
Can you explain the number 4?
Cross-functional data pod means like so one particular data can be taken care of different use case could be there, like for cross-functional data. Essentially this keyword means is like the data you need to build up a data layer. Like for example, you are dealing with different versions of the format of the files. One could be related to the Parquet files, one could be CSV text file. So you have to build a model how these files will be handled. All files cannot be syndicated to a single layer. So So you have to create a channel basically for this cross-functional data to structurize, and then they have to merge ultimately into Silver. But this structure is that can happen using, this can be handled using ETL pipeline. This can be controlled. So this, because the data is coming in different formats. So raw data is ingested, but when using ETL flows like data factory, so this for data factory pipelines, for acting as a source, it has to deal with cross-functional different files. In ETL, it creates a different kind of, you can develop 2-3 pipelines to accept the files. Parquet format is coming in one pipeline. CSV, this can be structuralized so that it doesn't look clumsy. So it will help, it will make the job of ETL, segregated, basically segregation. Now I'm dealing with network segregation, but yeah, so that's what it is. Segregation, like of the data of whatever it is. So then automated pipeline and scale merge. I think that's what it meant, cross-functional data. So pod is essentially
I think it's a data product.
which one?
The cross-functional data pod, what you mean? It's a data product
Okay.
in a gold layer,
Okay.
and then you are exposing that so that the other functional group can access that data.
Okay. So according to the different environments, like we're referring to, according to the different data.
Yeah, if you have a HR team.
Okay. Yeah. That
they
HR
have
sales.
No, they have a personal data, right? I mean, they have dump of all the employees. So that group can expose that data as a data product.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
That's it in a gold layer or in a silver layer probably.
Okay.
And then other functional group, right? They can access that data.
Okay.
Right? I think that's the meaning of cross.
Yeah. But these
Where would that calculate from data?
But
Say you have set of data which is coming in, say from CRO, ERP, medical data, bank insurance. It comes to the bronze layer as raw data.
The bronze layer is raw data where everything comes into a standardized format. Like you
That I agree.
bring it in a packet format.
Correct.
In silver layer, right? I mean, that's where you harmonize that data.
But before going to silver layer, it should give insights that this data should not go to silver layer. Say some of the data should be masked or obfuscated or encrypted. It should not be processed as it is. Correct?
No. I think raw layer is hidden. I mean, like you won't be exposing raw data outside the business.
That I agree. That I agree. But the people who access the data from the bronze layer, right? For the ETL people, right?
Correct.
So some of the data should not be processed at all. Right.
I don't think so.
if you, that's what I was like. If you apply filtering at the bronze, then it will be difficult, like those masking and all. Because
Some of the data should not be processed, right? The BA data should not be processed at all.
but then it defeats the purpose. The keyword as is. It's take the files, and this masking and all you are saying can be applied when it lands into the silver category. That's why I think he asked question and I referred.
No, otherwise once the data goes into the gold layer, then the ML pipelines or the AI pipeline can pull it.
I think the MI pipeline is also the silver layer. Gold layer is the tasking. You are aggregating outline.
So I think I'm almost done. So this is just a curated view of the different clouds. AWS has your routers for different services, how they classify. BI streams is this we are using right now. Quick Insights I'm using for cost optimization dashboards in Amazon for the leadership view. I've created this dashboard in my AWS. Power BI and Looker, Google Looker is the one analytics for the Google, and Power BI is of course Microsoft. So this is it. So different clouds. That's it. Thank you.
We can actually pass on these chocolates to people who ask good questions. If there is any questions to, we have a couple of questions.
Connect up to
Actually, I don't remember apart from these two. So I was so involved in that discussion and the questions.
Okay.
So yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. What was that example that you talked about where you process the data at rest instead of data in transit?
So that is my use case. Like that is related to security because working as a cloud architect, I have to deal with the security line as well. So what's happening is there is a solution called Oxford Meta Defender. That's a open source offering. So enterprise companies talk to these kind of vendors. Oxford is one of them. So they have their own solution. They have built their own solution. They have tied up with like our company, and they are providing solution to scan the files. For our use case, are CAD related files. CAD manufacturing files are usually CAD related. So they want, because actually in vulnerability some kind of findings came in our application that you are not using any virus scanner. It's kind of antivirus tool, very layman terms. So you are not using, you need to use something. So this came up to us, and they have built different storage service solution. They were asking to scan the files because they are saying, how are you ensuring today the files which are coming to your system, whether SAP or anything, or how you are scanning? Because at the end of the day, whatever architecture I have built on AWS, it's under ABB umbrella, right? My organization umbrella. So how company policy apply on that one? So anything coming from bronze, it's fine. But when you are designing, basically is to give it a relay to it, and silver, anything you are designing on that, you need to comply with the company policies. So they propose two options. Either you scan the files at transit, all the way they're coming from any system, SAP, ARP, ERP, you scan the files in the transit while they're coming, or you scan at the rest. So these two options are there, which I saw in the Oxford website also. And then I went to their solutions architect guys, that this is, I saw this solution is there. So I don't want to scan the files at transit, because I took this feedback from the development team as well. And they were also against it, that business won't agree. If a file, its part number is missing from any manufacturing plant, and in manufacturing unit, then they will, it will create a delay of processing the files. So they said that they also pass the feedback, business also pass this feedback, development team also pass this feedback, that it's better to go with scanning the files at rest. And now we are evolving, we are working further on that, is like creating a system where we can quarantine the files. So that we can clean those files first, because we will just separate out the files. That's the idea. That's this solution there in the Oxford website also. That this whatever, yeah.
Since you're doing it data at rest, you're scanning it, so it has to be, there is a possibility that the file is infected.
There is a possibility.
So you scan there and you remove the virus infected files, and then you put it to a separate DB. Is it something like that?
Yes, that is not DB. We will create a separate folder. Like this is what Oxford is recommending us. Quarantine those files. Because virus is a virus. They are saying strictly that you need to quarantine these files, at least separate out them from the system, until you find a solution for. We are still working. The simulation is still in work in progress in our quality environments. So this is not yet live. It's a POC which I was doing with them. Quarantine is what separate out. It will be kept as is in quarantine. Okay, it won't be clubbed with that. So one scan has happened, one iteration has happened on the EFS vault. So it won't touch the production and the already live files. It will some set of, it was lakhs, crores of files which I just scanned. Only some 20, 24 got infected, and that is kept there. So I have given those files to locations to my teams, the development teams, to action upon those. Only challenge which I am facing is now, like as a platform engineer, like I have a doubt that if those files are related somewhere to link is there, right, then could be, and this is what the flag raised by development team as well. But for any company, security teams won't allow that. Infected file is infected file. We have to deal with, clean these quarantine files. So they have separated out, create a separate folder, quarantine. deal with it separately whenever you get time, but try to do this. We can't allow this quarantine files to be. First, you have to clean this up.
Okay. My question regarding the what you eat may not be partaking what you have showed. For your gold layer, right? There could be multiple departments. They may not reside in the same zone. It could be different zone. How you maintain the competence to party for that kind of scenario? Any idea or thought about that? Oh, one question I have. Yeah, sure.
If anyone is able to answer that, anyone wants to answer that.
So regarding the availability zone, I mean, irrespective of what zone your cluster lies in, people are, but the only problem that is and policy that applies to that specific zone. But apart from that, I don't see any reason that why somebody will stop. Because in a typical data engineering pipeline, the data always resides in different zones, for sure. Right? You can't control where this app sits, you can't control where this Salesforce sits. So,
no, I'm saying, are you making that different people accessing different zone? Okay, and they have their own data security or data retention zone. How you maintain farming in that respect?
oh, you mean once it comes into our pipelines, how do you maintain the...
Yeah, correct, because your data is accessing by different department, they may
Right.
accessing different zone. They have their own limitations,
Right.
rules, regulations.
Right.
How farming can take on that?
So when you talk about the
The
purview,
best way to do it is anonymize the data. So whatever zone uses it, it's still anonymized, right? So governance will never be an issue. Any zone can access it.
Okay, we can take it offline and see, because there is a rule like GDPR, you cannot put data from
One question. Maybe they also ask.
Yeah. Anonymize the data.
Yeah, you guys can take it offline. I'm doing a coffee break.
But just one quick question, Tarun, right? My question is with respect to compliance and the governance which you discussed. So one of my customers, while doing this ETL pipeline, we realized that you can't, that data has to be there to LLM, because then only I get an insight, even though it's a secure data, even though it's a TM data, but until I give its data columns to LLM, a lot of my insights can be missed. So we ended up giving it, okay, despite the fact that we knew it's a TA data. Right? But while rendering the data back from LLM, we said that in terms of system info, right, you show that these are the, we have given very in-depth analysis that these are the columns which should never ever be given to back to the customer, users. Whoever is using the chatbot, in terms of it should never be given. But we had no, what we realized is we ended up giving a dangerous data to that guy, despite the fact knowing the consequences, and now we say that and we have identified, because for us, you can't remove the data, because through that data only we get an insight. So otherwise the whole purpose of creating a chatbot and getting an insight from chats gets defeated for us. Right? So in that way, are we, so a lot of people tell me, my other European customers, that yeah, Manish, in this way have we broken the EU policy? So since it's a Europe, right? So they are highly governed by EU policy, right? EDPR, right? So those policies, what they say are, Manish, that if I get into sue into the court, I will also take you with me, right? So obviously, because I am his consultant, so I am also as accountable as them. Right, so how do I say that, how do I create a fine line where I say that I do not break the code and I get the insight whatever I want?
Any question? First of all, before arriving that decision, right? I think you might have your own infosec security teams, right? So
it's a startup. It's a startup. There's no security.
There's no security. It's a startup. So basically, then you have to deal in code. So no, actually, do you? I think it goes by learning only. So which phase you are in right now? Like you have already experienced.
Yeah, we have already fed the data to LLMs, all the secure data, and we are making sure as a system info that whatever data, even though you user tweak any of the chat parameters, right? Still we make sure that if it is a credit card info, whatever happens, your credit card info will never be shown back to the customer at any point.
usually there will be
There
guardrails.
should be guardrails and masking of the data.
But the problem is guardrails, right? So the problem that we realize if users start tweaking and he becomes smarter than machines at some point, he will be able to get from X to Y.
That risk is there in every security guidelines.
Guardrails we have, but is that enough for us to prevent us from anybody suing us?
It's a good topic for coffee break. We'll take one last question.
If autogens are having capability to ingest authenticated data from silver layer, then what's the purpose of building a gold layer?
So basically, Autogen is also a framework, LLM framework, which Microsoft has built. So as I said, I think the data is clean. Now, I have not shown you I would have loved to show the Autogen portal also. It is a very good one, the drag and drop options are there. So it has its own mechanism to basically get the data done for LLM or RAG models. It can help you, customization is available. But only prerequisite for Autogen platform is data should be clean. After that, it can do its own processing, whichever gold lines are doing. So it doesn't have to depend on that. So the prerequisite is only the data has to be clean, trustworthy. Trust and the clean word is introduced in silver layer itself, not before that. So that's why this Autogen can extract data. Tools like Autogen can extract data from silver layer also. So trust that the AI trust word comes from the silver layer, not from the bronze. So it's okay to select. This is what I read, and this is what it says in the whichever site you are referring to. LLM models can start extracting from silver layer itself.
So in that case, we can skip the gold layer.
No, it's not recommended. I mean, yeah, if you're doing customized, as he said, Manish said, so it's definitely use case. You can, it's customizable basically. The last slide which I mentioned, it's not. If you don't require, then don't build it. You can stop at silver, and at least you have the clean data, right? And trusted data. A lot of iterations, data breaks, and all those, and governance also is applied in silver. So it's not required because everything you build in cloud, if you ask me, it involves cost actually. So the old they are developing those kind of services, Synapse Analytics, and these kind of models, right? It will cost you huge in cloud. So I think it's best if you can skip, if you can help from silver startups. And this is like a typical enterprise scenario, which Fabric is also using this, but it's depends on the use case. You can skip the word also, it's fine, completely fine, and develop your own model, which I think these startup is doing. But I want to know the part which you asked, how you are doing this.
Coffee.
No solution at all. Yeah, let's brainstorm this.
Big round of applause to Tarun.